Right. Hello. So, the United States government has once again decided to take a little break. It's not a planned holiday. It's not a team-building retreat in the woods, though frankly, that might do them some good. No, this is a government shutdown. It's a bit like when your laptop freezes and you have to turn it off and on again. Except in this case, the off switch affects about 330 million people. The government has essentially put up a giant "Gone Fishing" sign on the front door of America. The problem is, no one is actually fishing. They're just standing inside arguing about who gets to hold the fishing rod, while the lake slowly drains. This isn't the first time this has happened, of course. America treats government shutdowns like a recurring character in a sitcom. You know the one. The wacky neighbor who shows up at the worst possible moment, causes chaos, and then leaves, promising to return next season. The government has effectively hit the snooze button on itself. It's a self-imposed timeout for the entire country, which is a bold move when you're already in crisis mode. So, what is a government shutdown? It sounds dramatic, doesn't it? Like something from a disaster movie. But it's less giant asteroid and more office manager forgot to pay the electricity bill. In the simplest terms, a government shutdown happens when Congress fails to pass a budget. Imagine your household. You need money for groceries, the mortgage, that streaming service you forgot you subscribed to. The government is the same, just on a much larger scale. It needs money for paying soldiers, funding medical research, and making sure the pandas at the National Zoo have enough bamboo to munch on. Now, that money has to be approved by Congress. This is done through something called a spending bill. Think of it as the nation's allowance. But for this allowance to be approved, the two main political parties have to agree on it. And getting them to agree on anything is like convincing a cat to enjoy a bath. It's not impossible, but it involves a lot of hissing, scratching, and someone getting wet. When they can't agree by the deadline, the funding stops. The government's credit card gets declined, and that's a shutdown. Non-essential services pause until they sort it out. So why this time? Why did the government decide that now, in the glorious autumn of 2025, was the perfect moment to grind to a halt? The answer is wonderfully complicated and profoundly simple. It all comes down to a budget, or, more accurately, the spectacular failure to agree on one. The two parties have very different ideas about how the money should be spent. One side pushes green energy and social programs, the other wants cuts, and maybe a giant golden bald eagle. This year's debate was particularly spicy arguments over border security, disagreements about aid to foreign allies, and the exact number of paper clips the Department of Agriculture should buy. Every line item became a battleground. The hostage was the American economy. Each side had demands, drew a line in the sand, and dared the other to cross. The final straw? A dispute over tax cuts. One side swore they'd spur growth. The other said they'd favor the wealthy and blow a hole in the debt. Cue the standoff. Two cowboys at high noon, except the pistols are legislative procedures, and the street is the hallowed halls of Congress. The result is the same. Somebody hits the floor. This time, the government. Shutdowns are a tool, a leverage play for a faction to force concessions. Risky, repeated. And here we are. No cookies. Everyone a little blue. So, what happens when the government closes? Does the country descend into anarchy? Do we all start bartering with squirrels for nuts? Not quite. But things do get weird. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees are furloughed. That's a fancy word for sent home without pay. One day you're studying climate change. The next you're learning how to make sourdough on a budget. These are real people with mortgages, car payments, and kids who suddenly want expensive shoes. Paychecks stop, bills don't. Public services just stop. Parks and monuments close. Your once-in-a-lifetime Yellowstone trip? Enjoy the locked gate and a phone video. Websites go dark with a notice. Need your passport or census data? Good luck. Essential staff still work. Air traffic controllers, TSA, Border Patrol. But without pay until it ends. It's, come in, work, we'll give you an IOU. Maybe. The economic hit ripples outward. Contractors lose work. Nearby restaurants empty out. The longer it goes, the bigger the drag. Billions lost in productivity. It's canceled vacations, delayed paychecks, small businesses fighting rent. It's a mess far beyond Washington. You have to appreciate the breathtaking irony of a shutdown. The very people who caused it keep getting paid, while the park ranger worries about rent. It's like an arsonist getting paid to watch the fire he started. Meanwhile, the panda cam is non-essential, which feels essential to national mental health. And the office running the shutdown? Fully funded. A perfect, useless circle. We save money by losing fees, services, and productivity, then pay back pay anyway. Like saving gas by driving off a cliff. There's a frantic rush to avoid it, then a long slog to end it. Weeks creating a problem. Weeks congratulating themselves for solving it. The political equivalent of a dog chasing its tail. Why does this keep happening? A time loop of our own making. Polarization widened the gap into a canyon. Compromise became a dirty word. Our system needs 3 keys: House, Senate, President. Great for balance, perfect for gridlock. Someone always throws a key in the river. Media frames it like sports, winners and losers. Politicians fear their base more than the middle, so brinkmanship gets rewarded. Cooperation gets punished. Shutdowns became a recurring feature, baked into the system. Each time feels more normal, like a seasonal allergy. So, here we are. The government is closed. The pandas are off air. Everyone's a bit fed up. It's easy to feel cynical, like the people in charge have lost the plot. It's a ridiculous situation born from a failure of leadership, of basic governing. It perfectly encapsulates our dysfunction. It's frustrating, it's silly, it's deeply, deeply stupid, but it's also temporary. Shutdowns always end. Pressure builds, phones ring off the hook, headlines sour, the damage piles up. Eventually, grudgingly, a deal appears. Usually a messy patch kicking the can down the road. The lights come back on, gates unlock, paychecks clear. It's a stress test that reveals cracks and the absurdity of our discourse. But the country keeps running. People work, neighbors help neighbors. Life, for the most part, goes on. We are more than our politicians. Maybe this time we learn something. Maybe next time they pass a budget like grown-ups. It's a long shot, like a pigeon doing your taxes. But hope's a good thing. Until then, we'll make jokes, point out the absurdity, and wait for them to finally turn the lights back on. And who knows? Maybe the panda cam comes back too. A nation can dream.